of those behaviors, which I still do, you know, because it's the way that I was raised and what I saw. But because I'm aware of it and I'm aware that it's wrong, I can now make the right steps to change it. And that's why we have 2 girls, because it was for me to be the one to fix that, and so that I don't continue that in the bloodline. And I just think that's what's happening. And a lot of times they're not gonna get it because it's not meant for them to get. And it's meant for them to go through all this constant comparison and all of that, because it's just meant for us to see how not to be.
So it's almost like, hey, he don't know he ain't supposed to be banging his head off Moana. He's gonna keep banging his head no matter how many times Moana tell, hey, stop banging your head. Don't go over there and jump in the water. They're gonna keep doing it. And that makes it tough for us to be able to still have a relationship with them.
But it's not meant for you to.
So you just cut it off.
Yeah. If you just think about it, you got your wings. You learn how to fly. When a bird learn how to fly, they don't go back to their mom. When they learn how to fly, they leave the nest and they go where they supposed to go. And then they create their own family, and then the cycle repeats itself. And it's the same thing with us. The problem with us is that we get stuck in a loop. And we get stuck in these relationships that we're supposed to continue in. Now, if you can continue in them, you know what I'm saying, then great. But if you're a person that is supposed to push something forward, it's hard for you to continue in that space because there's no growth there. And there's just nothing you can do about it. And so I just liken it to getting your wings. Learn how to fly. Now that you know how to fly on your own, you don't need to be constantly going back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not pushing you in forward any, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, when they finally get their wings, or if it's even meant for them, I don't really think it's meant. I just think people in your life for certain times and seasons, and that includes parents, that includes friends, that includes just about anybody that's come in your life and give you a lesson to learn from. And it's hard because when it's your parent, because this is the person who helped give you life. And so it's like, how can you be the one that's my biggest enemy?
Yeah.
If you constantly dealing with on the surface, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be hard. You're gonna constantly be doing everything you can to get this person to like you, to love you, to, you know what I'm saying,
care about what you're doing, care about your well-being. And it ain't even that no more. It's I did my job. That's why they be putting kids out at 18. That's crazy.
But a lot of times too, that's to help you get your wings.
Yeah, but I mean, you can also help them get their wings if you let them stay long enough to stack some bread and get a crib too, or something like that. You think that's doing too much?
I think you gotta know your kid. I think it ain't meant for everybody. That wasn't meant for me, because I was able to see. I was the youngest, but I was the wisest, so I was able to see what I didn't want to be like. You know what I'm saying? I was able to be like, okay, no, I don't want to go that route. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be the one that's always needing them for everything. I want to be able to stand on my own and figure life out myself. You know, so that was important to me. And maybe they saw that in me young. You know what I mean? Like, she gonna be all right, and so we don't have to put that much into her. And she always used to say, I know I ain't have to worry about you. You know, I know I ain't have to worry about you. And so I just, now, if you talking about from an emotional standpoint, yeah, I lacked. But where I lacked with her, I gained with other people. was put in my life. And so it was like, she didn't teach me how to take care of myself as a young lady. You know what I'm saying? She didn't teach me how to cook. She didn't teach me she didn't teach me nothing. You know, it was just, I learned from watching her, and I learned from other women who was put in my life at a young age to learn, like, okay, I know not to do that. You know what I'm saying? Or this is how I take care of myself, or this is how I'm supposed to, be. Like, I learned how to, I remember, and I'll never forget this because it was just so major to me, but I remember my cousin taught me how to get into the car, how to, like, when you have a skirt on, like, no, you don't get in the car like that. You're supposed to put your legs this way. And I'm just thinking, like, my mom never taught me that. As much as she wear dresses, and you know what I'm saying, you know how we be on Drew, like, Drew, please close your legs.
Right, you got to dress up.
Yeah.
She never was like that with you.
Nah.
What? So you saying, you equating that her not being like that for you and not teaching you things to her not being capable of teaching you, or just not wanting to, or not supposed to be the person that do that for you?
I just think that she might have approached that situation like, I didn't learn that way. I had to learn, like, on my own too. So she gonna get it. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know that, or you just?
That's just kind of like how I feel. Like,
okay.
And I give you an example, and this might be like TMI, but I started my cycle very young. So I was 10.
Okay.
So I'm a 10-year-old dealing with monthly issues, which is relatively young.
Yeah.
Like, that's
you can
very
get pregnant,
young.
right?
Yeah, I could have got pregnant. But luckily I wasn't that type of girl at that age, you know. So, but when I was like 15, I was tired of wearing, like, the regular maxi pads. Like, I hated them, and I was asking her, like, can you help me? Like, show me how to use this tampon. I want to use a tampon. And she was like, I ain't never used them before. You'll figure it out. And it was just like, okay, and I figured it out.
And it's so crazy because your mom is, like, so in the church, so, this bougie suburban mom who put on this front for everybody, but deep down she says stuff like that. It just throw me. You know what I'm saying? You always say I give them too much credit. It's because of what they putting out there. That's all I know, and that's all a lot of people know of them. But deep down
but that's superficial.
Yeah.
But if you comparing it to, like, how you were brought up, I could see why you would create a hierarchy there. You know what I mean? But it's superficial. I just think that she just had a disconnect with me, and she wasn't really comfortable with going there, and it was just one of those things where I had to figure it out. And she came from that generation where there was a lot of figuring it out. There was a lot of lack of conversations about a lot of things, and you figured it out. And that's why, to the question that you asked me before, that's why I think it was that. Like, she just looked at me like, she gonna get it, and she gonna get it because I got it. And she just probably prayed that I got it, and she didn't have to ever help me. Because now that I'm thinking about back, like, I'm really thinking, like, I started my period at 10. I didn't tell her till I was 11. And that was by default because I had an accident at one of my friends' house. And I didn't know, because I wasn't keeping track of it. I didn't know that I was going to start my period. And so here I am a year later. But for a whole year, I was still in her past. I didn't tell her because I didn't know how to tell her.
Were you not comfortable? You just didn't know the
I just
words?
didn't know the right how to tell her, like, I'm bleeding, like, what do I do? But at 10 years old, like, I would never want that space to be, like, so far that our girls couldn't come and tell me, like, at 10 years old, Mommy, I'm bleeding. And I don't know why. So here I am at 10 and I'm bleeding. I don't know why I'm bleeding. You know what I'm saying? I might have even talked to like one of the older girls down the street or whatever. I might have told them, but knowing me, I probably just kept it to myself and just figured it out from other people that I knew, like at school. Like, oh no, you on your period. Like, well, what do I do? And then I still didn't tell her. And so she probably even to this day think that I started my period at 11.
That's something. And I know we got a lot of stories that we can tell. More than likely it's going to be a part 2 to this. But to wrap it up, I got 2 questions. The first question is, moving forward, what do you feel is necessary to either, put that in your past and you grow or get over it, or to mend it or confront it so that she understands and try to do something about it. And then secondly, I ask that because we do have kids, and them growing up not really knowing their grandparents can affect them. We don't know. I mean, my grandparents, I was around them young, but not past like 13, because for one, they were passing away or getting sick, etc., etc. So it wasn't like, I guess everybody's not blessed with that type of situation where they obviously could have, because they're able-minded and capable, but they obviously don't choose to do that. So if you remember those 2 questions.
So the first one is, do they mend it? Or
do you what steps do you do to either mend it or figure out how to get past it? Do you confront it?
I mean, I confronted it several times and it didn't get me anywhere. So I mean, honestly, it just really depends on who you're dealing with. It depends on what type of parents you're dealing with. Some parents, they figure it out later on in life, you know what I'm saying, as they get old and get sick and about to die, and then that's when they want to, you know what I'm saying, and that's still cool too, because at least at some point you acknowledged it.
Get some closure.
I think I don't think you should not try to mend it. I think for your own sanity, you should try to figure out what it is, and if you can get any type of closure or any type of understanding of what the situation is, I don't think you should just kind of like let it go. And I also don't think you should get into like a situation where you like blame yourself for it, because at the end of the day, they're the parent. That never changes. They're still your parent, no matter how old you get. So even though if you're an adult, that's still your parent. So there's still a hierarchy there. That's still like you.
I love our respect, but at the same time, you could be respected too because you're an adult.
Yeah, but it's still, what I mean by hierarchy, not that you are in a subordinate position with them. It just means that
they're one level up.
Yeah, because that is who gave you life. You know what I'm saying? And so while they are the ones that should be coming to you to try to resolve issues, a lot of times they're just pride get in the way. It's just not gonna happen. But if you care enough, I think it's something you should try to mend. But if it don't work out, you gotta learn to just move on from it.
Is that what you're doing, moving on?
Yeah. I don't have a choice because I don't deal with funny relationships, no matter who it comes from.
If the is the door open just in case they come to their senses?
Yeah, but I would have to see some genuine effort. I would have to see some genuine acknowledgement. And my thing is, the only thing at this point, everything that happened when I was young, I don't even care about. Like, it is what it is. You did the best you could, or whatever resources, tools, whatever mental capacity you felt like you could do. She wasn't an awful provider or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And there we had good times, but there was a lot of void there. And before we had kids, I wanted her to acknowledge that void, you know. And she did to a certain extent, which I thought moving into motherhood, it was cool because the void was acknowledged. But then it became something bigger because now I feel like you kind of went back to your old ways, you know. And so now that I'm a mom, you don't even really care, and you can't really show up the way you need to show up, you know, for me 3 times in me being a mom. So I think that's when I just was like, this is a relationship that is not meant, and it's not meant because I'm supposed to learn how not to be.
And she's the perfect example for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last part was obviously our kids. How do you navigate that as far as not having, you know, because I guess if they was never there, I guess it doesn't matter. But they're gonna, at some point, they're gonna probably ask, or
you just be honest with them. I think right now, it's just trying to protect their youth, because I don't want. A lot of times when you tell kids that kind of information is young, sometimes it could make them feel like it's got something to do with them. You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with them. And then I don't want to give them a complex in case they do get around them, and then they had it in the back of their head. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, you know. And so it's hard. I don't even know how to say to really navigate it. I mean, I don't like this situation because, you know, they went from having somewhat of a relationship with them, somewhat of some type of rapport with them, to like, nah, it's nothing. They don't call on their birthday. Even outside of the relationship being non-existent with us, if you were a true grandparent,
you'll call you.
You just gonna, even if you don't call, you could just send a birthday card.
Yeah, like Nard just sent something. It wasn't for her birthday, but he knew the address. I know he didn't know it off rip. He had to get it from them, so they got it. And yeah, that's what really messed me up about them. Not enough emotional intelligence to figure it out. You know, these are kids.
Figure it out. They just being
spiteful.
Yeah, they gotta figure it out. They know exactly what to do. People are just very surface. You know, they don't know how to move beyond that. And so, but I'm guilty of it. Like, I'm guilty of it. Like, I didn't call, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but it's like, I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah, but those are kids. Those are kids.
But that's what I'm saying. I didn't call and say happy birthday to my brother's son because I wasn't talking to him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even think about it. You know, so it's just like you get caught up in the emotions of all of this, and that's when it becomes toxic, because it's like, now it affects the kids. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, they don't have to. And so it's like, I'm at fault for participating in it, you know, but also as a grandparent, they know better, but they just choose not to do better. And for whatever issue that they have with us, and that's why I'm just like, you gotta just move away from that energy. Until that energy is ready to transform into something else, something more positive, is all you can't be around it.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you for our conversation tonight. You looking good, but you're looking tired and sleepy. So our late night talks are necessary, but so is our sleep. So thank you for sharing, and we'll continue this